Excited about our non-conference historic run in our SEC. It speaks volumes to the depth of our teams. Whenever you have a group of coaches and players go 185 and 23, it says something. Whenever you have in the AP polls for of the top six being from our conference and five of the top 10 being from our conference, or even seven of the top 13 being from our conference, or 10 again out of the top 25 being from our conference, it lets you know that we are, double digit bid league, meaning 13 teams, 13 or plus or more. What I do hope is that the committee is paying attention to that, because our records in conference is not going to indicate, as we beat each other down, is not going to indicate how good our teams are. And I hope this barometer is sort of encased where we are right now, nationally. Okay. Nationally. That's what I'm hoping. Net ranking is important. Right now, our non-conference schedule ranks 169th at strength of schedule. That's top half nationally. And that's what we wanted to accomplish. Obviously, we have the potential to play the AAC champions in Memphis on their home court. We've played Illinois in our neutral site game, who could easily win the Big Ten. And we've played Kansas, who've historically had a part or a piece of the Big 12 championship, and they were number one in the country. And those things are important to us. Moving forward, we have 13 nationally ranked teams on our schedule that we'll be able to compete against, starting with Auburn. And in some cases, net wise, they're the number one team in the country. AP poll, they're number two, right behind Tennessee. So again, it just speaks volumes to where we are, our opportunities to be able to show who we are as well. And I think when you look at those opportunities, they're going to come on the road, they'll come at home, and we just got to be able to play and be in the moment and give our very best. Questions?
Coach, I'll start here. Just Auburn doesn't seem like a team that turns over the ball a whole lot, and you guys obviously like getting points off turnovers when you can. Just what do you see the kind of dynamic with that being here, and what do you need to do to maybe force them to cough up the ball a little more often?
Well, I don't think when it comes down to that's one of their strengths. They get shots before turnovers. The things that we can control, will control. We don't know when turnovers take place. We just got to put ourselves in the right positions to at least make it a little bit more difficult. At the end of the day, they have different pieces in their program, offensively and defensively. I think from a depth perception, they have a very deep team, and obviously one of the nation's best basketball players in Broom. Ultimately, I think our job is to go in there, go in the environment, handle the environment is going to be the key. We can't allow home court advantage to be played against us. We got to be able to understand the volume of that, and we got to understand the execution. So for us, when it comes down to turnovers, if they have minimum, I want to have minimum turnovers too, and that's how I kind of gauge it, the turnover difference.
Coach, as you head into road games like these, what have you seen from your team, whether it's been at Memphis or even just over the offseason, that allows you to believe that your team can handle a hostile road environment like Auburn?
Well, when you look at hostile environments, I would also count our neutral site game, because for some time playing against I think Illinois will be a top, 10 team in the country, top five possibly, depending on what they have moving forward. But they had an impressive win last night at Oregon by 30 points, which is an AP poll record, I believe. So I just think when you look at Memphis game, that second half, the first half, I thought we did a good job. Second half, I thought we didn't execute how we needed to execute. When it comes down to both games, it gave us what we needed in terms of high level competition. Kansas game did that as well. And let's leave no doubt about it. We had teams come in here on our court and put us in tough situations. And we saw certain guys stand up and step up to the plate and answer the call. So I'm excited about who that will be moving forward and the opportunities to make sure that we give ourselves a chance to win at the end of the game.
Dennis, you mentioned Janai Broom. Just
Yep.
wanted to ask you about him, what you see from him, and how do you try to game plan for stopping a player like that?
Well, he's first team All-American, I think, potential player of the year player, a person that I thought has continued to move their program forward. The one thing that I would say that stands out with Auburn and Broome, they're not happy with how their season ended. And I want you to just think about how Virginia bounced back when they lost to UMBC, I believe. Back in the year before they won the national title. Auburn has that taste in their mouth, and they've been playing that way. If you look at the disposition of their team, led by Broome, and he's been playing a certain way with a level of focus. And ultimately, when it comes down to the game plan, guys like that, he's playing unselfish basketball. He could easily average 25 to 30 points a game if he wanted to. And I just think that speaks for the depth of the team, the level of unselfishness he has, but also the job Coach Pearl has done with his program.
Dennis, I know you have said a number of times, like, you like to run and play fast. Bruce's teams have historically kind of played that way. I know you have to adjust to different styles, but would you rather go into a matchup against a team that likes to play similarly to the way you would like to, or a contrast in styles?
It depends on a couple things. It depends on the whistle, first of all, the opportunities to shoot a higher field goal percentage or even behind the arc. And those percentages allow you to play a little bit more free and obviously with pace. What I do know is they have depth and we have depth. And what we don't know is which players will be able to step up and answer the bell. I think they have one of the best benches in the country as well. And I think we do too. So it's going to be a slugfest. What I feel for the referees because they're gonna miss calls and they're gonna make great calls. I just hope that those calls that sometimes are missed don't hurt us as much, especially on the road. And I think ultimately, when you have a team like ours that's getting to that foul line, that we can still manifest those free throw opportunities on the road. So the big picture is whose game plan will fight through the adversity first. And that's kind of how I play it. It's a great question, Gabe, but I can't predict how that ball's going to bounce and then now the in-game adjustments that I'll have to make.
Coach, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but is there a mindset change at all for maybe that opening 5 minutes or so in road games compared to home games of these tough road games? You need to weather the storm maybe a little bit.
Well, both teams are going to be excited. This is SEC play, the best conference in the country. I think you guys probably retweeted or read it. It's funny when you look at the rankings of all 360 plus teams, and then the first 16 teams on the strength of schedule is all SEC teams. That is remarkable. So I think in this historic moment that not only fans from every city, I expect every road game to be sold out. I expect every home game to be sold out because this is very historic of what's going on. And if you're an average fan, you're going to want, no matter what the adversity is to get to the game, you got to be able to get there because the brand of basketball that's happening in the SEC is remarkable. Okay. It's remarkable. It's just remarkable. So for me, just being excited in the first 5 minutes, that's not it. It's going to be excitement in the first 40 minutes. How about that? First 40 minutes, don't miss anything because I just think there'll be several games in our conference throughout this year that is going to end in one possession or less. It's going to be several teams clustered up in tiebreak opportunities when it comes down to the conference tournament. And I truly believe the national champion may come from this conference. in addition to that, I think, no different than years past, whoever wins the conference may not be the team that's in the national championship game. And that's what we're looking at. It's about who can stay healthy, who can fight the duration of this remarkable requirement that we all have in getting to the finish line. I just hope that we all, at the end of the year, have the same amount of players available that we started with. And then that will make an unbelievable run in the NCAA tournament. And, the selection committee and everybody else got difficult jobs. We have to do our job and show up and play. And we got to give our very best. And that's what we have to do.
Time for one last question.
But two parts, Dennis. Go ahead, Drew.
Sorry. You talked about wanting the non-conference schedule to prepare you for SEC play. Now that you've been through it, what do you feel like that first half of the schedule helped y'all the most?
I think seeing who we are at the Memphis game, growing from that, our guys so much wanted to get that back, and they were able to get it back in certain ways. The adversity we faced down from at halftime to California, the adversity we faced in the history of our Kansas game. No one gave us an opportunity to win against the number one team in the country. I don't care what's going on now. They were the number one team in the country. And in addition to that, I thought we had several opportunities to win the game against Illinois, and the ball didn't bounce our way, regardless of what took place earlier in that moment. So, we've played against different styles, different coaches. And, now it's just time to focus on the SEC, focus on recovering from game to game. There's going to be situations where, you get delays, you get frequencies of weather change that's going to disrupt somebody's travel. Now it's about the players getting back and getting rerouted, refocused so that the games can take place. And no one's worried about what happens before you get there. It's about getting there and obviously giving your very best. So the schedule has definitely prepared us. It gave us an opportunity to figure ourselves out, have identity. And I think in the summer, you guys didn't know how it was all going to come together. And now that picture is getting more and more clear. And we get to reset everything. No team has a record. We're all 0-0 when it comes down to conference play. And may the best team win on that given night. And I hope we're on the other side of that, meaning the good side of it moving forward.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. MIZ.